What is up? Sorry for the delay. I had a little emergency. What is going on, people? Oh, happy Monday. For the 38th week, not necessarily in a row. Nope, Jeff. I broke a light. I broke a light bulb, which is no good when you're trying to shine up this happy face for you guys. What is going on? All right. So I'll say hi to everybody. Mr. George Watts, TNRC Pilot, Randy, Shadow Ops, Paul McNeil, Victor Shamulus, Joseph Youngblood, Bravo's RC Build Hanger, Mr. Craig Beaven, Spencer Keith, what up? Wild Bill, Dana's RC, Kevin Trappin, what is going on, my friend? Oh, let's see. William Mergita. Hello, sir. Tim Toutant. Ryan O. I'm sure I missed somebody. Mr. Jordan Doyle. Jeff in Lower Alabama. There's so many people. Alpha MRC. How you doing? It is about 8 o'clock in China, is it not? Over there in Southeast Asia. Harry Thunderwhite, Hanger 51, FU, sir. So, I want to kick it off with some good news for everybody. My, hello, Gooniac. My F-18 project is going swimmingly. It is going very well. And I know I said I'd do live streams to show y'all, the painting and everything, but kind of the gist that I'm getting is that people would rather see the end result than watch paint dry or watch me mask for hours. Needless to say, the amount of time that it takes to mask that airplane is freaking Captain Insano long. The masking is absolutely the most difficult part of that paint job. By far. Thank you very much, Alpha. I really appreciate that. Knowing that you have one that is very similar, I will take that as a giant compliment. And to all of the fine folks that have purchased the MiG-29, sorry man, the UMX Dobermans. Amy's out in the garage, so the UMX Dobermans go crazy because they can't see her. They can smell her, but they can't see her, so they go crazy. So the progress on the F-18 is going well, though. One of the final techniques that I was going to be using, I put that to the test this morning, and everything worked. One of the final, extremely difficult things that I'm going to have to do is, because it's extremely difficult to get decals made that exactly match the paint that you're using and the way that the markings are on this aircraft I've decided that I'm going to be painting the markings very similar to how I did with the Carmendia project, where the markings on the vehicle were painted into the paint scheme rather than using decals. So all of the markings on the fuselage, with a couple of exceptions where I'm going to be doing water slides, most of the markings are going to be painted in. So I needed to create some templates, and using some techniques from Jeff's Custom RC, or at least a material recommendation, he had suggested using shelf liner. And I was able to cut out some templates using shelf liner, and it worked, and I am thrilled with the results, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. And if all things go well, there may be an end result reveal coming towards the end of the week, and we'll have more details on that as that comes to fruition. Nothing set in stone yet, but if it happens, you guys will know, and it'll be epic, and there will be a large audience to see the cover come off the plane. There's still a lot of small details and things that I have to do. Obviously, painting all the camouflage onto the fuselage, and doing some detail work on the fuselage, like painting the landing gear white, and the inner gear door bays are all going to be white. There is a lot of stuff. Alpha, I'm glad you're in here. If I'm going to do Ordnance, I'm not doing it yet. I'm going to hold off on the Ordnance for now. I actually prefer the lines of the F-18 without Ordnance. I just think that the F-18 is one of the, and I'm sure that there's some people that would vehemently disagree with me, but I think the F-18 is one of the most gorgeous fighters that we have in the U.S. Fleet of aircraft. I still love, the F-15, but there's just something about the F-18 that, they picked the perfect name for it. I mean, it just looks like it should have been called the Hornet, and everything about that plane I love. And for now, I'm gonna fly it without Ordnance, but we'll see. We'll see. I know that it certainly would add to the scale appearance of the airplane, and I may do something. I'll be heading down to the Mary Boozer fly-in, the Toys for Tots deal that they're doing in November. I think James is going to be down there too. I may do Ordnance rails for that event, just to add to the scale appearance of the aircraft. Yeah, just the lines of the F-18 just look sweet. I love the way an F-18 looks. It is a gorgeous airplane. So, I'm as excited to get this done as anybody else, and it's finally going to be one of those moments where I can look at this one and just enjoy it for what it is, and not have to worry about wrecking it. The new one, I'm sending that one, and there's no sentimental attachment to it other than the days and days and days that I've spent painting it. But it's not like there's an emotional attachment, if you know what I mean. Like, this one is a model of a Blue Angel that crashed in Tennessee, and the pilot's name, the Buno number of the aircraft, is is a tribute to that pilot and that aircraft. So that one's not going to see the air anymore. That's a Hangar Queen. But this new one, I don't know anything about it other than that it looks sweet. So we're flying it. 2024. You know, everybody write that down. Alpha just said in 2024 there's going to be a twin 90mm F-18, and that thing's going to be giant. Take my money, Spencer, right? Take my money. Take my money. Yes, I will pre-order it now. A twin 90 F-18. That would be sweet and huge. That plane would be 10 feet long, at least. Oh, man. That would be awesome. A twin, like a twin 90 F-15? You know, I'll tell you, in my opinion, I think that an F-15 works better as a twin. I think an F-18, you know, that because the nozzles are so close together that it's just easier to bifurcate a single EDF on that airframe. But what do I know? I don't design airplanes. That's kind of your job, Alpha. Yep, Paul, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, is Alpha in here like dropping huge freaking hint bombs at us? You know, is this Easter Egg City? It could be. You never know, man. Everything is coming. So, you know, not to like spread, you know, hate and discontent, but for everyone, you know, I see folks that are out there on the YouTubes and on Facebook that are flying their MiG-29s. And while I applaud you for your courage, I would highly suggest, for the sake of your $650, I would highly suggest waiting to get the new servos for your elevators. For those of you that like to roll the dice, man, roll away. But if it's my $650, no, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the new servos to get here, and I'll just wait. So, Alpha, when you say bigger F-35, what I really hope you mean by that is F-35C with the big fat Navy carrier wings and the carrier style landing gear, and just a big nasty F-35 C variant Navy style with an arrestor hook. Even just bigger wings, you know. But I know that the molding and stuff would be hard to do. But yeah, I mean, if there's going to be a bigger version of an F-35 other than the 70, you know, if you're going to get into like the 90mm with an F-35, man, make it a C. No one's doing a C variant, Alpha. and people love the Navy. Oh, that would be sweet. Opening bay doors. But the F-35, I know I've seen a lot of pictures of F-35s. I haven't ever seen one in person with it, but I've seen a lot of pictures of F-35s with ordnance rails on the wings, which, at least in my opinion, kind of defeats the purpose of it being a stealth fighter. But, you know, what do I know? Yeah, could that be another one of these super scale F-35C? You know, with a working canopy, but not like that funky LX F-18 that they did back in the day with the working wings and the canopy that just did nothing but malfunction every time. You got to do it free wing style. You know, make it awesome. An 80 millimeter F11 or an F111? Because a big F111, what was that, the Aardvark? That'd be pretty slick too. But I think that, you know, I can't speak for Motion, but I think they may have other plans in store for their next sweep wing plane. You know, I can't imagine, you know, they've got the Tomcat. I can't imagine that the next sweep wing would be an F111. It would probably be something else, something that more people are asking for than an aardvark. Mm-mm-mm. Look, man, there's all kinds of Easter eggs getting dropped in here tonight. We don't know what it is. All right, so F-18, couple more days. And once it's done, we'll have some news about a big reveal coming up at the end of the week, and it'll be nice. The what else do we got in here? It's cool to have Alpha in here, right? He's like just dropping bombs. Yes, a big reveal. There could be a big reveal coming, and it's going to be awesome. A couple of other things that I wanted to address is we've got some video coming. I think I did like a build video on the PC-21. We've got some flight footage coming up on the PC-21 Pilatus. What a beautiful flying airplane. I know it's a little long in the tooth now. I think that airplane came out in like 2016, maybe towards the end of 2016, October timeframe. But goodness, that is a beautiful airplane. And if they're going to discontinue them ever, I would highly recommend getting one. I mean, what a great, great, great plane. Awesome. I don't do a Friday live stream, Alpha, but someone does. All right, RC Addict, how you doing, sir? Eskosh? Oh, something swing wing that flies low out of Europe like a tornado? See you, Alphas. Thanks for stopping by tonight, man. Very cool of you to make a guest appearance in here. Maybe so, Shadow. Maybe so. That could be cool. But let's hold off on that for now. Actually, I mean, we can plan for it, and then you know, if anything changes, I'll let you know. But yeah, that'd be fun. So everybody give some emojis to Alpha. Thanks for stopping by tonight. We appreciate it. And it's fun. You know, I love how he fuels the speculation. Yes, he is good at teasing us. But it's fun, man. Hey, you never know, Tui. That's the kind of stuff that he drops. Them are the kind of Easter eggs when he comes in here and he says ciao. You know, you never know whether you're going to end up with some Italian job. Or maybe. Was he telling you to stop flying it, Ryan? Maybe there's going to be a giant sausage. You know, I want a food truck that's fully staffed, that just swings by and brings me food. A hot dog water's fine, Kenny. I just don't drink it. Like drinking hot dog water, that ain't no good. Nope. I never believe anything, Ryan. I never believe anything. Hey, Spencer Keith, I just wanted to say thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate it. And up yours, that F-18 will fly a lot. Hot dog water and soggy spaghetti, man. That's a good meal right there. A helicopter unboxing. The hell kind of helicopter? See, y'all done made Amy mad. Now she's going searching. She's looking for something. I can hear her stomping around upstairs. She's on the hunt. All right. So, yeah, we talked about the PC-21. Here's the other thing I want to talk about, because I think it deserves to be talked about. And that is this thingamajig right here. This is the E-flite Habu. This is actually Amy's airplane. You know, we won't, I mean, she's in here watching, so we can't like hide it from her that I'm messing around with her plane. But turn up the mic. The mic is up all the way. Turn up your headphones. Can you turn up your headphones? Yep, she should be, but she don't want to. She don't want to come in here tonight. Give me just a second. I gotta go adjust something. The lighting is just weird tonight. I don't like it. But anyway, so the Habu, beginner friendly aircraft. All right, I mean, we're gonna have some videos on the Habu. Um, I have flown this plane a few times because I'm going to be teaching Amy how to fly with this airplane. I would not feel comfortable, being on a buddy box had I not, flown it myself. So I've done the maiden, and I've put probably a dozen flights on the plane since then. And Amy is itching to get out and fly it. Um, and and jump on the simulator and get started, training on the Habu. But here's here's what I want to say about this plane, and it's nothing bad. Um, this plane actually has a lot of great characteristics about it. So if you guys are familiar with like the Free Wing Rebel, this airframe is extremely similar to the Free Wing Rebel, which is a very forgiving plane. You've got like the straight, like the trailing edges of the wings are straight across, which make it pretty forgiving. You've got a little bit of anhedral in the tail wing assembly. I don't think that really does anything. It's not quite as pronounced as the anhedral in an F4. There's not a lot of dihedral in the wings, but it's got a lot of surface area, and it's also got these leading edge extensions. My camera is doing some weird stuff tonight. It's probably because I don't have a hat on, and my shiny ass head is like causing the camera to do weird things. Let me see. Doo-doo-doo. Oh my goodness, these dogs. Mm-hmm. It's in the office. Okay. No, not the head. Okay. So we're back to I think I got the lighting fixed. All right. So now I can finish saying what I was going to say about the Habu. So the Habu's got these little leading edge extensions that are almost kind of like slats that are gonna. You got to turn the sound down on the phone. Right, these slats. What are you doing?
Giving you a hat. Here you go. There's Dave. Hi.
So these are almost like slats, which absolutely help the plane fly at low speeds. Can it slow down like an apprentice? No, man, it's a jet. But it will fly very slow. Probably one of the best slow flying jets I have had the opportunity to fly. Now, what I want to say is, as far as this airplane being beginner friendly, I want to point out a couple of things, some caveats to that statement. Can a beginner start with this airplane? Maybe. Maybe. Is Amy going to be able to start with this airplane? Yes, absolutely. So on 3S, this plane has plenty of oomph. It can get up in the air, it can fly. But it's slow, it's a little sluggish to respond. So it goes a little faster than an apprentice, obviously. Um, it can get some good speed on it, but I think that the motor doesn't spin up the way that you would want it to if something bad is happening. If you're going to be using this in safe mode only, and you don't expect to get yourself into any kind of trouble, I think that 3S might be fine. Um, I feel like 3S, it just isn't enough. I feel like it's got to be on 4S. Which may sound a little crazy, but hear me out. Here's why. On 3S, we all know how jets respond. This is still a jet. Even though it can fly slow and it may have very good handling, it may be beginner friendly, it's still a jet. So the way that it responds to your throttle is very jet-like. Meaning that if you kick it in the pants, it doesn't just, get up and go like a prop plane does. With an apprentice, you can be a foot off the ground, damn near in a straight nosedive, kick the throttle up to 100%, give it full up elevator, and vroom, just jump right out of a bad situation. So the Habu's not like that. If you are coming in slow and you lose the plane and you start losing pitch authority, you give it full power, it still takes 2, 3, 4 seconds for this plane to build up enough thrust and get out of that bad situation. So, in that respect, I don't think that it's beginner friendly. I think that it is an awesome, first jet. Now, what I'll say about who is this good for? And again, this is my opinion, right? This is a great trainer plane for a beginner pilot who has an instructor that is familiar with jets and how to fly them. If your instructor has only flown prop planes, they may have some problems with this at first, but they'll figure them out. But they're going to need to know, how does an EDF respond to throttle? They're going to need to know how to land a jet, because this does want to, it can get very bouncy. It's a very light plane, very light. And because it can get very bouncy, if you put it on all 3 wheels, boom, it's gonna Peter Rabbit all the way down the runway. What is this plane like? It likes to come in high alpha. It likes to settle down on the mains and then, drop that front gear down nice and soft. So, figuring out how to land in high alpha, how to put it down on the mains, how to get it to settle down on the nose, that could be a challenge. If you bring it down too hard, it's going to bounce. There's a lot of things that this plane does that are not so beginner friendly, but a jet pilot, an instructor that is good on jets, can get you a long way on this airplane. Now, with all that said, right, the other thing that I enjoy about this plane is that I believe that for the person who is new to model flying, that has an instructor that is, familiar with how to land jets, I believe that someone can learn how to fly on this plane, and I believe that this plane, as a trainer, will take the student pilot further than any other trainer out there. Because once you have mastered, the flying part, once you put this thing on 4S, it's quite a good performing plane. I didn't try to take the gear off or anything or do any kind of, hand tossing or anything like that. But the performance of the plane is pretty fantastic on 4S. I mean, it'll go. It's got great roll rate. It's got plenty of elevator authority. The rudder works well. I mean, you're not gonna. I mean, I guess you probably could knife edge it. It doesn't have a huge rudder. But I mean, if you're an enterprising kind of person, you could probably knife edge it. So it's not all bad. It's a good plane. It's a good plane, and if you have an instructor that understands jets and jet mechanics, you can get very far with this model. And I'm trying to think, like, if you're the kind of person that never ever has the intention of flying anything other than jets, like you have no interest in prop planes at all. I'm trying to think of what a good progression would be. And the Habu, obviously would be a great plane to start with. Find an instructor who's familiar with jets, grab a Habu, learn to fly on the Habu. And I think you could get away with going from the Habu straight to something like a Viper. And the Viper, once you have mastered the Viper, I think that you could easily move into, like an Avanti S or an F-86 or a L-39, T-33, something like that. I mean, and you can easily progress from the Habu into a first jet if you master the Habu first on 4S, because it's going to get you good speed, it's going to get you good mobility, it's got great aileron authority, good roll rate. It can definitely do loops. It doesn't have unlimited vertical on 4S, but it's got enough, where the plane can get away from you. It's got good speed on 4S. I think that it gets you further than any other trainer as long as you've got a good instructor. So that's all I'll say about that. We can move on. What is up, Captain Photon? Jeff's Custom RC? GB? David Snyder? Man, there's all kinds of people in here. Sorry, man, I've been just yapping and yapping and yapping, and I haven't really been paying attention to how many folks are in here. We were down, we had like 37 in the beginning, and now we're up to like 70. So, hey, rock on, fellas. GB, that has not happened yet. But we are definitely, we're gonna get her out here soon. Soon. Oh. Danny, that's what I'm saying. I think that it could be a good first plane if you have an instructor who's familiar with jets. I don't think that it's so fast that a beginner can't keep up with it. I think there are better beginner planes, but I think that this can be a beginner plane. Maybe not the best beginner plane. No one ever said that, right? Even at Horizon, they never said this is the best beginner plane there is. But is it a beginner-friendly jet? I think it can be beginner-friendly as long as the person that's training the student, understands how to explain what the plane is doing to the student well. So, guys, I kind of have a bit of an idea, something that I have never done on this channel before. At least not during a live show. And it's something that I think everybody likes seeing, as long as something comes out of it in the end. But I need to move. I need to move Captain Kusa's spaceship here. Yes! New aeroplanes. No, this isn't the MiG. In fact, this is only a new plane for me. But an old plane for a lot of other people. But it is a plane nonetheless that I am very excited about. Oh, George Watts. Yes. It is the F-22 Raptor. And I am super stoked because I have wanted one of these forever. And in exchange for some yes, Chris. In exchange for some graphic design work from one Mr. Pilot Ryan, he was gracious enough to send me this here F-22. So I am super stoked because I have never had an F-22. I've never flown an F-22, but everything that I've heard about them would suggest that it is awesome. Now, I do have an Avanti. I've got the F-18, two F-18s. I've got the F-22 now. You know, my free wing arsenal is starting to, you know, to build up here a little bit. And I really want that Gripen too. That Gripen is just awesome. Oh, come on now. All right. So we're going to get crack-a-lack and I'm going to bust this thing open. Come on. Yes. Let me go get a knife. This might be all the tools we need to put a free wing plane together. Alright, I saw this thing has like a double-decker box. Now, Ryan, is this the new carbon spar, or did you put the carbon spar or the old one back in the box? Because I know there was a lot of parts that Ryan just left the new one in the box. So I've got like a lot of new accessory parts. As long as you have a spar for your new F-22, then we're all good. And everybody, give some emojis for Ryan for hooking old Air Marshal up with the F-22. That's awesome. Thank you, sir. I really do appreciate this. You know, this is the plane that I have been wanting for a long time, and I am thrilled to have it. So thank you so much for doing that. Amy probably doesn't thank you, but I do. Man, this is crazy. They have like a spot for everything in this box. There is a spot for everything. Yep, and I see these roller things that folks have been talking about inside the main wheel wells. That's kind of funky. All right. And now we're to the meat and potatoes part. We got some vertical stabs Now, I think these might be brand new vertical stabs. So that's awesome. I guess he liked his original vertical stabs better. Yeah, horizontal stabs. That's what I meant. He is a good repackager. It's almost like it came straight, like a new one came straight out of this box, and piece by piece, as the new one came out, the old parts went immediately back in. There's some nice nose cone action. These must be the little bits that you cut off. So we'll get all those glued back in. Some battery hatch action. Everything is in order here, I think. You see, we got a little pull tab on there. That looks like that's homemade. Now, what's funny is this F-22 has been belly landed. I witnessed at least one of those belly landings, so that's pretty awesome. And the other thing that's pretty nice, and you know, we'll just get another gear door cover. That is not a big deal. Get the gear back in working order. But you know, there were some, like Ryan, you know, had some concerns about the nose. I mean, yeah, it got beat up a little bit, but man, nothing that can't be fixed. And now I've got like 87,000 different shades of gray for my airbrush. Man, I'll be able to get this repaired easy. And let's see, what all do we got in this goodie bag? Piled here inside the battery bay. I think this is just stuffing. Is this just stuffing? All right. A brand new tube of King Boxer, all the control links, all the hardware needed to put everything together. That's nice. We got the battery tray. That's nice. Some little pieces of wood. I'm assuming this is probably what the blue box goes into the Gazinta tray for the blue box. Here's some stickers. I don't know what those are for, but I'll find a manual somewhere. My ESC and BEC and all of the things that probably run under the battery tray. All right. So definitely not bad, not bad. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ryan. You know, I mean, if I want it to be perfect, there's some things that I can, you know, some things that I can replace. But it's certainly flyable the way it is now. There's already some markings in here for the CG. Here, so if you're gonna run a 6,000 battery, put it here. If you're gonna run a 5,000, probably stick it a little forward or there. So there we go, guys. Yep. So yep, like I was saying, I mean the front is a little crinkled, but I have certainly dealt with worse. You know, there's a little bit of a crinkly thing going on here. There's a little bit of there's actually some breaks up here, but these are all things that are easy to fix. And you know, for me, someone that enjoys the challenge of fixing up planes and making them, you know, like new again, I think where this thing, you know, has those little bends in the foam, you know, those are things that I can easily massage out of there with a little bit of hot water. You know, we'll get another set of gear doors and get this thing back up in the sky again. I mean, like I said, I think it'll fly. I think it'll fly right now. I would just be a little bit concerned, you know, because there are some cracks up here, so I'll need to get some, I'll probably do some Gorilla Glue in there where these cracks are, you know, because as much as I like foam tack for like structural damage like that, I like to fix that with Gorilla Glue, because once the Gorilla Glue dries, it fills in all those cracks, and once it dries, man, it's solid. So what is that?
I don't know, it looks like I mean, that's what I mean.
It can't wiggle.
The cat has found the box.
Yep.
Look, what is it?
Awesome.
The cat said thank you for the box, Ryan.
Oh, and the other part about this particular airplane that's pretty cool, where, again, for my effort in creating some new, graphics for Ryan for his Teespring store, for his website, in exchange for those services, I got this slightly damaged F-22, but certainly not bad. But what I was going to say is the other part about this F-22 that's really cool is it already has the FMS Platinum 90mm Inrunner in it. So the fuselage has already been like hogged out. It might actually be an Outrunner. I could be mistaken, but it does have like the 90mm FMS Platinum EDF unit. Whether that is an Outrunner or Inrunner, I am not 100% certain on that. So that is a nice upgrade. Oh, sorry GB. What is up, Colin? Oh shit. This blue box is for something else. Yes. So Boss 223, I'm not sure what we're going to be doing with it yet. I am pretty happy with the way an F-22 looks right out of the box. I may not do anything to it. I may, put some filler and sand and shape the bottom and get it back to looking, fresh again. Or I may just buy a whole new fuse and the high performance Inrunner unit. I don't know. I definitely want to get it together and fly it, in its current condition. Just get it repaired and get it in the air and kind of get used to the airframe, which I don't think will take long. Everything I've heard would suggest that these planes are amazing. So you signed it all right. Did you really? It's got Pilot Ryan's signature all over it. No, I mean, I think that adds a little bit of character to the plane. You're not really going to be able to see that. I don't care. I don't care that it's got some damage. And if anything, what this does is it gives me a little bit of confidence, because it's got like this flat bottom. Hold on. Speaking of bottoms, because it's got this flat bottom, this plane is very, it's built for belly landing. And I have a fiery booty. I don't think that was the kind of fiery booty that Ray normally sells. So I have a fiery booty that I got for the Blue Angel F-18. Now, because the Blue Angel F-18 never got flown, and the new F-18 is going to get the Inrunner, I may put The fiery booty, I don't know. I don't know if I can. I don't think it's the same. I don't think I can put the fiery booty on an FMS in runner. I think it has to be a free wing. Or I don't think I can put it on an FMS outrunner. I think it has to be a free wing outrunner. So we'll figure it out, man. Matthew Smiley's Aviation Center. Yes, on my empty shelf, I have the Radiomaster TX18S that I've been playing around with, and it's nice, man. Yeah, no one's gonna care, David. I agree. Well, hey, Matthew Smiley, wash your damn mouth out. This isn't an Alabama hat. This is an Atlanta Braves hat. How dare you suggest that I ever wear anything associated with the state of Alabama? Especially the Crimson Tide. They're terrible. Nick Saban can suck it. It is not the same logo. So, the Crimson Tide, their A has a mullet on it. This A, no mullet. So, right there on the Alabama A, it's got this little mullet hanging off the back of the damn A. Mullets are back in style. I don't know. You know, I think that I think that once you get your head wrapped around what you can do inside OpenTX, um, I think that it is pretty easy to learn it. There's definitely a learning curve, though, and at least in my opinion, like the setup of a new model, for example, in a Spectrum radio and even a Futaba radio, they're a little more intuitive. Um, doing that first model setup. The OpenTX transmitters, I mean, once you figure it out, once you figure out the menu systems and you know where to go and what to do and how to set it up, and you know the inputs and the mixes and the outputs and you know logical switching and all the there's a whole lot of stuff going on in there that you can make that thing do almost anything, and it just takes some learning. But there's a ton of great resources out there, right? So I mean, if it's something that you're interested in, the best way to learn, especially with something like that, now you know, with those Radio Masters, they're so inexpensive. They're like $150, and they're hardly ever in stock. So even if you bought one, you could probably still, for now, like say you get one and you decide that it sucks, you could probably still sell it for like 80% of retail, and someone's gonna buy it because they're good. Ricky, is that why you moved to Colorado? Yes. That- That's where I would move if I loved roaches. Oh, not me. Not me. I am not a resource on OpenTX yet. There is a guy. Oh, I can't remember what his name is. But if you look up like, uh, TX16S tutorial, there's a guy. I think his YouTube thing is RC video reviews or something like that. Um, he's had a whole series, kind of like the series that I did for the AR636 and the AR637. He's done a whole series on the Radiomaster TX16S, and it's pretty good. I've been following along with it, and I have learned a ton about how to set up this radio from watching those videos. So I doubt that he watches our show. If you do, RC video reviews. Hey, thanks for putting that together. It is an excellent community resource, and I would absolutely recommend anybody who's going to be looking to try out a Radiomaster or any of the color screen versions of the OpenTX radios. So like your jumper TX16s, or your jumper T16, jumper T18, the Radiomaster TX16, your Horus X10, from FR Sky. All of those are running newer color screen versions of OpenTX and have basically the same switch and potentiometer complement. So those videos would help out anybody using any of those radios and get you up and running and doing just about anything that you would ever want to do with one of these transmitters. All right. So I got a funny story. When I was a little baby, we lived down in Florida. I was born in Tampa, so maybe not far from where Kenny and the Boozers are. I was born in at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa. Yes, RC Model Reviews. That is the guy. So I was born at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, and when I was like 3 years old, we moved to Elmendorf Air Force Base in Alaska. Kind of a long trip, but I was a kid. I didn't care, man. I was 3 years old. All I remember is growing up in Alaska. I don't remember the Florida part. that's been a lot of years back. Well, anyway, in Alaska, we had some pretty big roaches. But they, what I thought were big roaches. Turns out they were just standard sized roaches. When we moved from Elmendorf Air Force Base, so 6 years later, we moved from Elmendorf Air Force Base to Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi. So again, going from one extreme temperature condition to another extreme temperature condition. So we moved down to Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi, and I had never seen a palmetto bug, but they have those in Mississippi. And this thing was giant, man. I'd seen cockroaches, but, here I am, like 9, maybe 10 years old, and this thing that was like as big as my hand, is like crawling around. And in Alaska, they just crawl around. It scared the absolute hell out of me when that thing like spread its wings and started flying around. And I was like, "Ah!" Screaming bloody murder. You know, my mom comes running, my dad comes running, and I'm standing out the bathroom with the door shut, and I'm like, don't go in, don't go in. Because I'd never seen a stupid cockroach fly. Like, that ain't right. They're supposed to be ground dwellers. Heck no, man. Them palmetto bugs. That was pretty funny. Ricky, I was gonna say come on down, but I'll come to you. You're in, you're in the place where partying happens. Yeah, we had some termites in Hawaii, and yeah, not good. Yep. So my dad was a career Air Force guy. He spent 20 years in and retired in 1987. So he did the whole Vietnam thing. He was a orthopedic. He's a medical technician, and he worked in the orthopedics department. I think he retired as a master sergeant or a senior master sergeant. I think a master sergeant. So fun times. I have a lot of memories of Air Force bases, and that's really where my love for aviation came from. We had a. So this will be fun. I'm gonna pull up Google Earth here. We're gonna find where my old house used to be. Because because the internet's cool like that. All right. Man. Like the audio levels on the microphone do seem kind of low. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I've got the gain like maxed out. Good question, Airvexed. So when I was going to the recruiter's office, I was going to the recruiter's office to join the Air Force that day. And when I got to the recruiter's office, because it was like a strip mall, and it had the Army and the Navy and the Air Force and the Marine Corps, they were all like right next to each other. And I had every intent of going that day and joining the Air Force. Absolutely, my mind was made up. I was joining the Air Force. And when I got there, and mind you, this was like 1994. I go there, and there's a sign on the door that says by appointment only. And the Navy guy, he was standing outside, outside the door, I guess waiting for people to try to go and join the Air Force so he could scavenge. He was like a vulture, and was like, hey, can I help you with something? I was like, yeah, well, I was planning on joining the Air Force, but these guys aren't here. He was like, yeah, those guys only come in, like once a week, and you got to make an appointment with them. But what were you looking to do? I was like, I don't know, man, work on airplanes. He's like, we got more airplanes than the Air Force has. And I was like, well, is that a matter? Is that a fact? So, I got pulled in there. And when I went to go and pick like my job, we're talking, several weeks, maybe a month later, I go to MEPS and I take the ASVAB and I do all that stuff. And I got like I think a 97 or a 98 on my ASVAB. I got a pretty good score. And the classifier, who's the guy in the Navy that gives you the job that you're going to, enlist for, he tells me like these 4 different jobs. And I'm like, well, I thought with that kind of score on the ASVAB, I could do whatever I want. And he was like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, well, I want to do something in aviation. He was like, negative. You can't do anything in aviation because you've got a bad ear. So I think even if I had joined the Air Force, I still wouldn't have been able to do anything in aviation because my left ear doesn't work as well as it should. But submarines, man, submarines were good to go. So me and my big sucker butt, I joined the submarine force because it paid more. You got hazardous duty pay and sub pay, and we made more money. And now I know why. But anyway, I want to show you where my love for aviation came from. So we're going to launch some Google Earth. All right. So here on the motherland, so way up here in Alaska, in Anchorage, Alaska, is this fabulous place called Elmendorf Air Force Base, which is like right here. Now I gotta fix Yep. All right. So right here, this is Elmendorf Air Force Base. What we're looking at. This is the flight line on Elmendorf Air Force Base. Now, back in the late 70s, early 80s, this was where the Strategic Air Command was, and they probably still have, some Strategic Air Command assets here. And we had a lot of cargo planes coming in and out of here, and we also had a ton of F-4s and F-15s. I'm talking boatloads of F-4s and F-15s flying in and out of Elmendorf Air Force Base. And typically, they were flying this way. They were, on a westbound. They were heading west. So what's that? Runway 24. So they were taking off from runway 24, heading west, right out over the water and towards Mother Russia, which is right over here. So we'll go back to Anchorage. All right. So right up here, you see where this little loop is. they've still got a whole bunch of F-22s there. You can see them on the ground. They got F-22s. Well, this is where they used to keep the F-15s. Bunches of them that were all ready to rock. So these F-15s would take off from runway 24 in the middle of the night with full ordnance, full afterburner, 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And what you need to see here is, here's the runway. You know, so they'd be off the runway and they would be like maybe 100 feet off the ground with full afterburner. And then right about here, they just go vertical. So my house, if we see this forest fort playground at Cherry Hill, my house was in Cherry Hill. This little lot right here is where my house used to sit. These houses have all been ripped down. They used to go this way, but now they've ripped them down and built them different. But right here is where my house used to be, and this used to be like a playground. And then they had these houses going this way, and these are all still the same, and the elementary school I used to go to was right here. And we would walk in the snow, uphill, both ways, up this hill, and that's where I went to school. In the snow, it sucked. But anyway, so here was my house, and I'm looking out this way. So I know that there is a way with stupid Google Earth So if we look at the flight line and the way that those planes would be coming off of it, I'm 500 meters, so about a quarter of a mile. Let's just change that to miles. So 0.3 miles, 1/3 of a mile from my back window, from my bedroom window, those F-15s would be hauling ass, full afterburner, right by my bedroom. And, you know, 1/3 of a mile may seem like a long way away, but it's nothing. I mean, those things were loud. They'd be shaking the house. It was amazing. All right, now, the end of the runway is still less than a mile away. 0.8 miles to the end of the runway. So, I mean, even when these guys were landing, depending on which way they were landing from, I mean, these things were loud as hell. And I would just sit there at my bedroom window and watch these F-15s take off full afterburner like they were going after somebody terrible. And as far as I knew, they were, right? I mean, it wasn't exactly, we weren't exactly friendly with Russia, and you know, Russia wasn't that far away. So anyway, it was pretty awesome. You know, to live right off of the end of the runway like that. And we were elevated. We were up on a hill. What you can't see from there was that we were probably we probably sat a good 400 to 500 feet above the end of the runway. You know, so if the runway like is down here and I'm like elevated above looking down, so I can see these planes taking off and just ripping. It was an awesome vantage point. to be a spectator for something like that for 6 years. For 6 years, that's all I did was watch those airplanes. And anytime the Blue Angels, I want to say when we first moved out there, the Thunderbirds might have still been in F4s. I think the Blue Angels had already transitioned over to the A4, and the Thunderbirds transitioned to the F-16s very soon thereafter. I never saw the Blue Angels in an F4, although there was a point in time when the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds both flew F4s, which is, kind of weird because not a very maneuverable airplane. What up, Nate? Yeah, man, it was awesome. Um, being like that close to the runway, that was amazing. Seeing the F4s, the F-15s. Um, we had C5s rolling in and out of there all the time. Giant C5s. I mean, good God, what a huge airplane. And those make a very unique sound. If you've ever heard a C5, you know what I'm talking about. And hearing that outside your bedroom window is every bit as thrilling as hearing an F-15 on full burner. The other and watching a C5 take off, because they use every last inch of that runway, it doesn't even look real. I'd sit out there and watch them come down the runway, and it just looks like this big hulking beast. And it finally just starts lifting up. And it's this like, oh my God. Just a huge airplane. Yeah, we had C5s in and out of there all the time, C-130s in and out of there all the time. The T-33s, we had a ton of T-33s that were flying in and out of there all the time. And I believe the T-33s were being used as an aggressor squadron for the Strategic Air Command. So the T-33s were, being bad guys for the F-15s and the F-4s to chase. That's cool, Roach Coach. I got to see the Tyson Strong. What's going on, brother? So I got to see the Concorde fly several times out of Dulles. And that was very cool. Hmm. Weird. Sorry. There was more funky stuff going on. What's going on, Jermaine? Yeah, I remember the C-141. I also, I believe they did a tanker version of the C-141. So we had C-141s coming in and out of there all the time as well. As well as it was maybe it was a KC-11. It was a tanker version of an MD-11, like a McDonnell Douglas MD-11 airliner. So yeah, we had an interesting place to live for sure. Living off of the end of a runway at an Air Force base that was a fighter base during the height of the Cold War, right next to Russia. We had a lot of activity going on at Elmendorf Air Force Base. A lot. And I don't know how much of it was in response to activity from the Russians, but I know having served on U.S. submarines that, you know, for every place that we have submarines, there are other countries that also have submarines looking at us. We're not the only ones doing it, you know? So it wouldn't be surprising to find out that those airplanes were flying in response to Russian aircraft getting into or dangerously close to our airspace. And they were acting as interceptors, you know, to go chase them out of our airspace. Oh, that would be awesome to see that many B-17s. Those were amazing airplanes. I've seen a lot of B-52s together. Not that many. I've seen like 5 B-52s all fly over. The other thing that we were fortunate to see in Alaska was the B-1 bombers. The B-1s are awesome. I mean, those are awesome airplanes. What else did we used to see out of there? I mean, just all kinds of stuff. If you can imagine it, we probably saw it coming in and out of. I've seen a couple of SR-71s, U-2s, take off and land out of Elmendorf Air Force Base. It was a great strategic location to launch that kind of stuff. You know, I never saw the F-117 fly, but I do remember seeing one in person one time, and I don't remember what it was doing there. But I remember talking to the pilot. Cool dude. Yeah, I can't remember what he was doing there, but it was in the very beginning stages of like the F-117. You know, this would have been like the, oh man, mid 80s, like 80, 84, 85. I think was the first year that the F-117s were kind of being seen. Yeah, B-1s. Those are amazingly fast airplanes. They're big, but man, B-1s are no joke. Those things were made to reach out and touch somebody. Yeah, oh, that was something else that we saw all the time. I mean, F-16s, they're just gonna happen. Almost every Air Force base ever has F-16s flying in and out of there every now and then. We did have A-10s coming in and out of Elmendorf every now and then, just not as often as you would expect. The biggest, as far as numbers, like every day you saw F4s and F15s, and pretty much T-33s. Almost every day you saw, you know, several F-15s, F4s, and T-33s every day. Multiple ship flights. You'd see at least 4 all taking off together all the time. They may have had, just around the clock coverage, because there were tankers coming in and out of there all the time too. So there may have been during that time frame of United States history, we may have had 24/7 aerial patrols going on, and the airplanes would stay up in the air for 7 or 8 hours, and then another flight of 4 airplanes would go out. So that's not out of the question. What is up, Big Go Bobby? What's happening, my man? Hey, so someone had mentioned earlier that the new Dynam, sorry, Bobby coming in here, reminded me of that question, or at least that comment that that Dynam PT-17, that they were asking a lot of money for it. So, I mean, how much is a lot of money? How much is that Dynam PT-17? $209. Interesting. Interesting. And that's plug and play? 209? Because 209, that's awfully close to like FMS prices and stuff. I mean, that was one of the things that used to, I mean, that's about $30-$40 higher than Dynam's normal pricing for a plug and play model. So I'm interested to see where where if it's $40 better airplane. So Rich Baker had one in his hands the other day. He says it's better than the previous iterations of Dynam airplanes. I mean, let's be real. This is the first new Dynam airplane in a long time. You know, Dynam has been putting out the same airplanes for a long time. So if this is a new mold for them, it's the first new mold they've cast in years and years and years and years. So maybe it is $40 more airplane. We will see. Do you really get an extra wing? This F-22, I don't know yet. I will probably put I'll probably put an AR-636 in it, either a 636 or a 637. I've also got a 9-channel that I could put in there, but I don't want to use a 9-channel on a plane I'm only going to use 6 of the channels on. I've actually got 2 9-channels. Something else that I've got that I might try, since I can do everything I need to with 6 channels on this, is I've got an S-Bus capable micro receiver that I may run into a Hobby Wing A3 Super 3, because the A3 Super 3, if you run S-Bus in, you can run 6 servo outputs from the A3 Super 3, with 3 of them being like the, you know, like you can use it as a breakout box for your servo outputs. So like run the micro receiver into, or run the micro receiver, then do S-Bus out into the A3 Super 3, and let the A3 Super 3 run everything else in the plane. So we'll see. Boogeyman. Pull the full up elevator when you're on the ground. When you're taxiing around, you know, keep full up elevator and keep the tail pinned until you're ready to lift off. All right. So we're getting down to the last few minutes. So I want to give a huge thanks to all of the sheriffs that are in the house. Even if you're not in the house, we always do a shout out for our sheriffs at the end of every show. So I want to say thank you to all of the sheriffs, which are George Watts, Joseph Ramsey, Jet Tech Don Atkins, Sandros 54, Ken Sprouse Jr., Dennis Farley, RC Stinger, Flying Times, Mike SSI, Spencer Keith, Dave Kowishki, and William Mergita. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. If you guys were not aware, we do have memberships available on the channel that start as low as $1.99 a month. We do have some discount codes and stuff for our members, and we really appreciate the support, you guys. It's through the support of you guys that we're able to keep going and getting new products and doing things like this F-18 that I'm working on. It's awesome. Brad Butler, what is up? Yeah, we're wrapping it up here, buddy. But like I said, thank you guys. Thank all of you for supporting the channel. we are going to have a sheriff's. We'll probably do a Zoom session. Someday this week. Maybe tomorrow. After Jeff and Dustin finish up with their Flight Club show. So, not too long for the sheriffs. I don't want to keep you guys on the, in Zoom forever. If you guys can make it, great. If you can't, that's okay too. But I want to do a quick Zoom session to talk to you guys about some upcoming things and where we want to go with the channel here in the near future. Let's see. You guys also get a discount code for our merch store. There's links for all this stuff down in the description. There's also links for Horizon. If you need anything from Horizon, if you click on my link in the description for any of my videos, click on the link. You guys buy stuff using my link and we get a small commission. Doesn't cost you guys anything. And that's a great way to support the channel as well without giving us any direct money. In fact, when you use those links, I get far more from that than I ever do from super chats or anything like that. So the links mean a lot more than than anything else. And we got more stuff coming, guys. I know it's been a little slow here lately because we're just we're kind of getting back into the groove, and we got a lot of catching up to do. So. When this F-18 project is kicking my butt, man. It's a lot more involved than I thought it was going to be, but it looks awesome. And keep your eyes open. If you're not already subscribed, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you turn on the notifications, because I will have an announcement sometime this week that I will put on Facebook. Because the updates that I do for the F-18, there may not be any more until I reveal the whole plane complete. And I think I may have something very special in store for the unveiling of this airplane. So keep your eyes peeled on the RC Pilots Lounge. Turn your notifications on for the channel here. Click the little bell and turn your notifications on. That way, if I put out any community posts, you'll know what's up. Oh. I was like, what you talking about? It's my normal 2 hours. Anyway, guys, be sure that you check out Ray, Mr. Guniak, Fiery Booty, who is coming up immediately after this. You got about 15 minutes before Ray's show starts, and hopefully he'll put a link in here for us to follow. If you are not already subscribed to Ray, make sure that you subscribe to Ray and click on his notification icon as well, so you're always made aware when he's got new videos. So there's a link for Ray's show. That's awesome. Thank you, sir. So we got Guniak coming up, and then you'd be tuning in tomorrow to Jeff's Custom RC and Raven Rock Machine and Aviation. Mr. Dustin Holloman, they do Flight Club every Tuesday night. Every Wednesday night is Shay Hamilton's Hangar, followed by GB Linden doing Hump Day RC. Thursday night is our main man, Kenny. He's old, and when he farts, dust comes out, but he's still great to hang around with, and the man don't know how to sleep, so he'll stay up and hang out with you till 4 or 5 in the morning. I mean, the guy's awesome. Easily 6, 7, 8 hour shows every Thursday night that always go well into Friday morning. On Friday, sometimes we have Farmer Man, sometimes we don't. Tim Two-Time, thank you very much. And when we don't have Farmer Man, we almost certainly always have Mr. Dave's RC at 9 p.m. Eastern every Friday night on Toe the Line. Also, every Friday night immediately following Toe the Line, we do a Friday night Zoom session. This coming Friday, I want to try something a little different. I'm going to put out on a community note and in Facebook, I think I want to start a Discord. For those of you that are familiar with what Discord is, it is a voice server where we can have a server, we can chat back and forth, we can send pictures, we can do things in Discord that we can't do with Zoom, and Discord is free. So I want to try using Discord one of these Friday nights and see if it works out better. If it does, and in Discord, the voice chat is always open. So even when we're doing like these kinds of sessions, we can be in the Discord, we can all be talking to each other while the show is going on, which is kind of cool. So I want to try Discord probably this Friday or next Friday. But anyway, every Friday night after Dave's RC, we do the RC community teleconference, and it's a whole bunch of us that we jump in the room together and we're talking back and forth. Usually it's video. You know, we can see each other. We get all of our favorite YouTube personalities in there. So we usually have Pilot Ryan. We've got myself. We've had Dave's RC. We get the Merry Boozers in there every now and then. GB jumps in there. Jeff, Dustin. You know, all of us are in there cutting up, having a good time. And it's kind of a no holds barred scenario where, you know, the cameras aren't live. No one's judging us for our language. So, you know, things go south real quick. It's a fun time. On Saturday, of course, we've got Pilot Ryan. So make sure that you're tuning in to the RC Pilots Lounge on Saturday night. And on Sunday, of course, we have Mr. Wesley Miller and Lori Miller, the Merry Boozers, and Papa too. Papa dotting it up. And then on Monday, it's right back to this. So anyway, that is your lineup of all of the shows. Make sure you tune in to Gooniacs here in just a few. Rifleback, check out Gooniacs links. And we'll see y'all next Monday. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. Make sure you're checking out my channel and looking out for an announcement on the reveal of the F-18. It's exciting stuff. Big stuff coming up here real soon. We'll see y'all next week.